Time to get agitated, Bobcat fans. It's time for BobcatTracksS5E12 with Jungle Jake Hromada and Mighty Mike Scholze.
Welcome to BobcatTracksS5E12. I'm your host, Mike Scholze, and guess what? Jake, no longer here. Who's our host? Bob Boldon. Welcome, Bob.
Thank you.
So
Big
just
shoes to fill.
Yeah, impossible, right?
Well, nearly.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it my best, though.
Yeah, I think you'll do great. Jake Hromada is our guest today on BobcatTracksS5E12. It's an interesting dynamic to have him as in the guest seat instead of the host seat. He usually does all the prep and all the real work for this podcast. So we might be a little screwed, but that's okay.
We'll figure it out.
Just to fill everybody in on what we're going to do with BobcatTracksS5E12 before we recap the week in Ohio athletics, we're going to have a guest host each week. Bob Boldon is our guest host this week, our first guest host. We have a few confirmed. Jeff Bowles is going to guest host. Michael Stevens is going to guest host. Somebody else that I cannot think of off the top of my head, but that's okay. It'll be a surprise.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, that's
Aaron
it.
Rodgers. He'll talk forever, as we know. So that's where we are with BobcatTracksS5E12, and Jake is awkwardly standing behind us, watching us, judging us, and how we're doing a poor job. So, Steiner, you're our producer now. You have always been our producer, but we've given you more work to do.
Yeah, I basically just get to sit in an actual chair and talk instead of just sitting over in my office and desk and getting screamed at. To have
Yeah,
an
you
actual
get to
microphone.
respond to all the pot shots we take at you now.
Yeah, there's a lot of them usually,
Yeah.
so I'll be used to it.
Last week's was the best one, but that's okay. So, Bob, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah?
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, what sport do you want to talk about first, Bob?
Women's golf.
All right, let's do it. 7th place finish for the golf team. They shot a 220, 4 over. Or that was Mackenzie McCree. Finished 7th place as a team, as overall as well. Shot a 220, which is 4 over. That's pretty good. And Mariana Vega Riviera finished in 14th, 8 over. 3 days. What are you shooting? Just in general, 3 day.
If you go out for a 3-day
go out,
tournament, what do you got?
Oh, there's no chance I finish. There's no chance.
You just give up?
Yeah, I don't know that I couldn't tell you the last time I played 18 holes of golf. I can play 9 holes. I'm good for the snack at the turn.
Sure.
Beverage or two at the turn.
Sure.
I lose interest at about 11. 11, 12, I start to lose interest. 13, 14, fatigue starts to set in.
Yeah.
You're telling me that mid-round snack doesn't
The
help
hot
you?
dog doesn't.
Yeah,
No,
when you
that,
go hot
that's the only
dog
thing that
brat,
gets me through 7, 8. Like I start to lose interest at 4.
and then you know that the mid-round snack is
I
coming.
know,
so you're
but I
looking
lock
towards it.
in. I lock in after 5, 6, 7. I'm like, okay, if I can just get to the clubhouse, I get a snack, and I might even just get to be able to go home. But I usually get peer pressure into going back out, and then usually, 14, 15 usually isn't too far. The problem is if you play 15, you're probably into it because you're starting to go away from the clubhouse now.
Yeah,
getting
you're
away
the
from
furthest
snacks.
away, yeah.
Yeah. So I usually cash it in around 12, 13, and just.
You know, this is very
Walk back.
un-basketball coach-like of you.
Yeah, I'm just I couldn't. Words can't explain how bad I am at the game of golf. And then I think just from like the concept of the ball is just sitting there, it's not moving at all, but I still don't hit it as often as I'd like to, and it definitely doesn't go where I would like it to go. And then the number of people that are willing to help me with my swing throughout the day. But I just by the time 13, 14 comes, I've just lost interest in the entirety of it, and it's already been 3 hours, and I start to think what I could have done with those last 3 hours besides walk around or drive around.
Drive around.
Yeah, I think I think if you're driving the cart, maybe you get to 15. That adds a little bit of excitement. Especially some of these, down here in Southern Ohio, we got these great rolling hills of Southern Ohio.
You get to drive.
Yeah, you can drive.
Turn it into your own racetrack.
Yeah, you can pick up some speed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Hit a few sand traps here and there, but
Can't do that.
as long as you rake it out afterwards,
Yeah,
it's
sure.
fine. It's fine. They don't care. So yeah, that's I don't know. I can't imagine anything a more significant punishment than having to play 54 holes of golf. I'd rather run a marathon.
Oh,
Wow. That is just ridiculous. But We're going to move on.
Yeah, we'll move on.
I would finish
Maybe
both at
revisit
about
that.
the same time.
Fair.
But not to. Good job,
Yeah.
Mackenzie. That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
4 over.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
I haven't shot
Yeah, and
4
being
over
able,
ever.
I can appreciate being able to be locked in for that long a period of time. You know, to do it and come back and do it again, and just keep grinding through and things of that sort. Especially in Yorktown, Indiana, which is really pretty this time of year. But I'm sure, you're dealing with some elements.
It is pretty unique, a pretty unique sport in that regard, though. You do have to stay. Basketball game's 2 hours, right? Full game,
Done.
Yeah.
4 sometimes. I mean, it's a multi-day event.
Right.
It's got to be tough to go out there, especially if you have a bad round and say, all right, I'm not done. Because basketball game, you lose, you move on.
Right. And then you get to start at 0-0.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, you're starting.
If we lose Wednesday, our Saturday game starts at 0-0.
Yeah.
You're not down 10 points or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. So you have a bad round, and you got to not only play well, you got to make up your.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm sure Brennan and Kelly probably say to their players a lot, like, the level of talent between everyone in college is probably somewhat close. It's all about how you can control when you do bad.
Yeah.
And that's how, you can
Yeah.
shoot 4 over 3 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
You want to talk about some field hockey?
Yeah.
So they played one non-conference game, one conference game. The field hockey kind of has a bizarre schedule in that regard. They won their conference game. They lost to VCU. That one doesn't count for the MAC. They beat Longwood 3-2. Caitlin Whittle put them up 1-0 early. Longwood responded. I'm going to butcher her name. We've already joked about it. The coaches call her Minty for a reason. It's Minche Lichtenberg scored
That
to put them up 2-1.
That's good.
Yeah, we went through
That's
it. Her and
pretty
I went
close.
through it.
Yeah, it's pretty
In
close.
here.
Yeah.
And then Longwood tied the game again, and then Minty
There you go.
put them ahead 3-2 to win in the final 5 minutes of the game.
Do we say in the 55th minute?
55th
Do
minute.
we say
yeah.
that
It's
in field
bizarre.
hockey or no?
It's bizarre
No, because
because
they're still quarters.
they're quarters, but the box score has it as the 55th minute of the game, and I believe Allie would say in the 55th minute. But they do play 4 quarters, and they take a break after every quarter, and they have a halftime, just like football. But yeah, it's a 55th minute goal.
Yeah, they play 4 15-minute quarters, but I think in technicality it's the 55th minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good to get a conference win,
Yeah.
always. Farmville, Virginia, I'm sure a wonderful trip. The bus did break down on the way there.
Got a flat tire.
It got a flat tire. It had to get another bus. So it was a long trip to Farmville.
I understand that.
Yeah.
I've had the worst luck with flat tires in the last month and a half.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah. So I can understand the frustration.
Yeah. Yeah, they were sitting on the side of the highway
Yeah.
for 3 hours.
Yeah, I get it. Those are probably hard to change.
Your son's waving to you.
Oh. If only he knew how to change a flat tire.
Should we talk a little volleyball?
Yeah. They're the next on the docket.
Beat Miami twice.
Twice,
Yes.
yeah.
That's always wonderful. They got the brick. They swept Miami. They dominated Miami. They swept Miami on Friday.
25-15, 25-22, 25-12.
Whew.
Yeah, that's incredible.
And then the first set in the second game, 25-11. They did drop the second set to Miami, and then they won in dominant fashion. Yeah, phenomenal performance. Sam Steele, Player of the Week in the MAC.
Tree as well.
Trey McLean, Player of the Week. Great to get those honors, and it's always great to beat Miami. We love beating Miami.
Absolutely. And every chance we get. And
Yeah.
what a great way to cap off a wild Saturday here on campus with that Saturday night game against Miami.
Yeah.
Well, you alluded to what happened before.
Yeah, you want to talk some football?
Let's talk some football.
All right. You were there.
They also play quarters.
They do play 4 quarters. They do.
And we needed the 58th minute.
We did.
59th minute.
59th minute.
Yes, we did.
Took the lead in the 59th minute.
You ever seen a game like that?
Never in my life. This is one of the most exciting football games I've ever watched.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, nobody pays to watch defense, right?
No.
No.
They don't.
I remember, if I could make this about me for a few seconds.
Sure.
When we lost to Central in the tournament a couple of years ago, like 98-94. Everybody was like, "What a great game! What a great game! What a great game!" And I thought, man, that game stunk.
Yeah, Tim's saying the same thing.
Yeah, Tim and Spence.
But just from a fan standpoint, what a lot of fun. I mean,
Yeah.
just what I enjoyed about it was like just the environment was great, but like the kids were out there and the kids were making plays, and it was just almost like backyard football to an extent, but it was just kids making plays.
Yeah.
And a lot of our kids were making plays, but gosh dang, a lot of their kids were making plays too, and some incredible ones. And you got to watch some athletes really take advantage of some situations, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, Fordham was a nationally ranked FCS team, one of the best offenses in college football at any level, period, and they showed why.
There was 1,300 yards of offense between the two teams.
Yeah, who doesn't like that?
Yeah. Curtis Rourke, 537 yards. That is the Ohio all-time record. He broke Donnie Harrison's record from 1983.
Wow.
He blew it out of the water. He was MAC East Offensive Player of the Week for that performance. He had 4 touchdowns, no picks, and Pro Football Focus put out he had the most. They track big time throws. It's a quantitative stat for them.
Which we have no clue what goes into.
We don't know what that means.
Can anybody explain that to me?
But he had 10.
Not us.
And that is the most they've ever tracked in a college football game.
Since 2014, which is when they started.
When they started, when Pro Football Focus added college games, Curtis made more big-time throws than any other quarterback in college football.
Yeah, he just looked like he had complete control over the game. Mm-hmm. Even when the pocket collapsed on him, he never seemed panicked. He never seemed uneasy. And he was in some tough situations, and I was really impressed by the composure that he showed. I know everybody's familiar with the name, and he's been here for a while, but at the same time, he hasn't really played as much as we kind of make it out to be. He played that very shortened season, and for the composure that he showed, especially when we lost the lead, and he just kind of methodically led us back down the field, and I don't know what a big throw is again, but it seemed like he didn't miss. Right? He only had 9 incompletions or something like that.
Yeah, 41 to 50. Yeah.
So he was good. It was really a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, and Coach Albin has been talking a lot about in the press conferences and publicly about Curtis, needing to step up, tuck and run when he has to, not staying in the pocket, moving a little bit more, and Curtis did just that.
I mean, if that performance isn't stepping up, I don't know what is.
Yeah. I'm not. I'm not talking stepping up in that regard. I'm talking literally stepping up in the pocket and tucking and running. And he did a very good job. I mean, he ran for a couple first downs and
had a big
extended
touchdown.
some plays and just did.
Yeah.
He was phenomenal. And Kurt Daniker was back too.
Mm-hmm. It's nice to see him on the field. He looked good for. I want to say he played the majority of the first half and some in the second half. Mm-hmm. I know Coach Albin talked about that before.
He's a difference maker on the line.
Yeah.
He's a difference maker on the line. The line was really good. Protected Curtis, and it was good. It was good to see. And then the defense scoop and score to win the game.
Yeah.
Not to win the game.
I mean, I guess if you make a stop at the right time, that's all you can ask for.
Tim, there's a great clip that we put out, and Tim is yelling, "Get down!"
Which is fair.
As Bryce Houston runs to the end zone.
But the time had already expired. No one was in front of him.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't blame the kid. I would have ran it in the end zone.
Same.
No chance I would have the wherewithal to get down before the end zone.
No, it was very funny. Though.
Especially 0-0 on the clock. I'm running.
Well,
it.
and defensive guys don't get the ball very much, right?
That's also true.
You see the ball on the ground, you want to score.
Pick it up. Yeah, you pick it up, and you see the end zone. Nobody between you and the end zone. Yeah, you keep running.
Yeah. Let's talk about soccer a little bit. Soccer lost to Buffalo and Kent State. Kent State was on the road. Buffalo was the 33rd best team according to the RPI in the nation. They're a good soccer team. Back at home on Thursday against Miami. We always want to beat Miami. Soccer shirts for the first 100 students, right, Bob?
That's right. Free Ohio soccer shirts, first 100 students.
That's pretty cool.
4 p.m., so those will be gone probably before the game starts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ideally.
So get there early, be loud, and let's get another brick.
Yeah, 65 and sunny forecast for Thursday. So
perfect.
Sounds like a perfect day to sit outside.
Perfect day for soccer.
Yeah.
I agree.
So on to our guest, Jake Hromada. Jake's worked here for what? 10 months.
It depends
as a
on what
capacity.
There you go. It depends on what you want to say.
6 years as an undergrad and grad student.
Yeah, so he's 7 years-ish.
He's traveled with women's basketball for what, 6?
Yes.
Whew.
It's a lot.
So
it's a lot of Jake.
That's why Bob is the guest host today. He knows Jake too well.
More than we know Jake.
Yeah. That's crazy. He watched Jake go from an immature 18-year-old to an immature 27-year-old.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think Jake's 27. But,
Is he 26?
Jake, how old are you? He's 26.
Good for you, man.
Good for you, man.
And this is just it just is just so painful.
Oh,
And that's
he
part of
hates
the bit.
this.
Yeah, it's part of the bit.
And we're keeping all of this in.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
He says that we'll force him to edit this, but I'll make sure that this stays in.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So should we bring him on?
Yeah, Jake, come here.
Let's do it.
Jake Hromada.
Jake, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thank you. It's the first time I've ever been on this podcast. So thank you guys. It's a big honor.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. So how dare you?
That's so rude.
Well, I mean, you can think that. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where are you going?
I'm going to, well, we talked about this last week on the podcast.
You're the
Where are you
guest,
going?
Jake.
You're the guest.
You
Where are you
answer
going?
the
We asked the
questions,
question.
we ask the questions.
Thank you, Steiner. You were explaining how the
Jeez.
process works.
So, one
You
thing,
think you'd know that.
I was never demanding as a host. I was just demanded to
Well,
answer this
I'm the
question.
Things are
producer.
changing now you're leaving.
Yeah.
I'm the producer, not the host, so
Yeah,
it's
that's
fine.
true. No, I'm going to Ole Miss. I think it'll be a lot of fun. Yeah, it should be a good time.
What's your title?
I don't remember.
Yeah, you do.
It's
It's
like
broadcast communication specialist.
Okay, thank you, Steiner. Yeah, it's that.
I did my research.
Yes, thank you for doing your research. No, it's just yeah, that's what it is. It's gonna be a good time.
So I'm going to say
Cool.
because Jake's going to do the SEC Plus stuff for Ole Miss. He'll be their face. The joke is that he's the voice of Ole Miss athletics, Olympic sports audio on SEC Plus.
Well, not everything. I mean, it's impossible to do all of them. I think.
Sure.
So I think. I mean, there will be a rotation, and I'm excited about it.
So are you going to get Bob to play Ole Miss in basketball?
I feel like that's up to actually Tavares.
Yeah,
'cause,
Tavares would be the guy to
is the
talk
one
to.
that. Yeah, Tavares is the one.
Yeah.
That. But I don't know. I feel like that's conversations that you guys should all have, and I think I welcome any and all OU teams down to
Sure.
Ole Miss. I think that'll be a good time.
You're not the only OU alum
No.
in the Ole Miss department.
No.
Or former worker.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I mean, it's kind of started with Seth Austin's down there. He's a graduate. So big shout out to him. We actually talked. He posted. So he was in my current position, but he got promoted, and now does a lot of the digital strategy and brand, not brand, but digital strategy and digital content. So his position opened up because he didn't want to be on air as much anymore. He just fell in love with the social media side of things. So then he posted on his LinkedIn, and like I saw it. It was only up for a minute. And we had a conversation like 4 years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago at this point, just connecting because I knew he was a Bobcat down there. And he was like, yeah, if I ever leave my job, like you're the first person I'm going to call. And that's kind of how it happened. But
Yeah, that's
Ryan,
awesome.
Yeah, Ryan Cochran's there. Also, he was a videographer here when I was a freshman. That was 2014-15. He remembers Bob's run to the NCAA tournament very well. So we kind of still talk about that one. So I'll be excited to reunite with Ryan.
That's cool. We're happy for you, Jake.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
We are. We really are.
Thanks.
Bob?
Thrilled.
Yeah. I think it'd be funny if you guys came down to play.
Well, I don't think it'd be funny. I don't know.
Okay, no, it would be funny.
I think it would be a
humor.
home and home.
Yeah. No.
Let's
Yeah.
be clear that
Oh yeah.
this isn't. You
Yeah.
don't get to be like, oh, well, OU gets to come down.
Well, no,
Like,
it-
you're gonna have to.
Yeah. No, I know that.
There's gonna be a return game.
Oh,
some
well, absolutely.
Reciprocity in
Yeah.
some form or fashion.
Well, yeah.
Reciprocity.
I can be bought.
Yeah. Especially by Ole Miss.
There's a amount of money that I'll accept.
Yeah.
I'm not
well,
above that.
Well, I mean, anybody can be bought at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, as we learned. Yeah.
Yeah.
With you.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say I got bought, but it was
Yeah,
just
but you did.
It was an
Yeah.
opportunity.
So
that-
we
know.
We all know. You came here in 2014,
I did.
and you were assigned women's basketball.
I was. It was. I think I broke this pen. Yeah, I was. It.
The year before that, women's basketball won 9 games.
I heard about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I heard about that.
I was the coach of that team.
I knew that.
Not a real good basketball team. didn't put a real good product on the floor. And then you came along and set a program record for wins.
No,
And
you
I
did.
don't know that I ever formally thanked you for that. So thank you.
Well, you should thank yourself and your team. You guys did that. I was just kind of there, as you know.
We started in Murray, Kentucky.
Yeah,
that was
we
our
did.
first road trip together, you and I.
Yeah, that was scary. I actually remember our first pregame interview together. It was atrocious. Because I've never done a pregame interview before up until then. So they told me I had like a 10-minute pregame show, and I had to fill it too with our pregame interview. And I did not know how to start it, how to ask questions, how to end it. I had zero clue. And I forget who was even in charge of, well, now it's Adam Rich. I forget who was before Adam Rich, but the guy was not good. We didn't get along. I can say that now because he's not here.
Obviously, we're taking the gloves
and
off.
We still have to work with these people.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't even think he's there anymore. I think he got fired. Anyway,
You should probably check that.
Yeah.
who cares? I'm leaving.
There
But
we
no,
go.
but I remember I asked you what your starting lineup would be because I think I listened to someone's interview and they're like, oh, what's the starting five going to be? And I asked you and you, I forget what you said. You're like, I don't know. I guess we'll find out when they hit the floor. And I was like, all right, that's the end of this interview. It was funny.
Do you have that saved anywhere?
No, absolutely not. No, I was very bad at archiving a lot of the radio broadcasts up until I finally invested in a terabyte digital external archive. So, yeah, and then next thing you know, you wind up winning 111-60, and all I heard about was how bad this team was going to be, and that's why. And to this day, I think Russ would be okay with me saying this. I think that's why he put me on those broadcasts because he didn't think anybody was going to listen, and he didn't think where you guys were going to go that year. So, yeah, because he admitted. Well, okay.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, we can move on from that. But I brought that up to say that first interview was terrible.
Oh yeah.
But I think what's made you so good at your job is then I remember years later, not after that year. That year you were just. It was kind of nice that year because you're really quiet, kind of kept to yourself. And
That lasted long.
That lasted a whole year.
Yeah.
But then you got more comfortable and started talking more, which is fine.
Yeah.
At times.
I still try to
Right.
keep to myself.
But then your sophomore year, your interviews were good. Like your organization was really good. I think by your junior year, when you started listening back to your games, and like there was a dedication to getting better. And I think there's some people around here that poke jokes at you, which I tell them not to, but they do it anyway. But I think it's worth saying, like, you got better because you were dedicated to your craft.
Yeah, absolutely. And I ponder on that too, because like you look at what you all did that year, and like you don't want to be. I mean, people are going to pay attention, right? And you don't want to be the reason why they don't pay attention because the quality of how I broadcast is so bad that people they don't want to pay attention, and. I feel like I did put a lot of pressure on myself to be better and to put together a quality broadcast. And I think eventually I kind of stole the Learfield style of things and, how we format things and how we, come back from commercial breaks and just to make it a more like a better listening experience than what it was. But yeah, I mean, the product on the floor, I think really, and seeing how hard you guys worked really pushed me to be better.
Yeah, it's not about them.
Well, no,
it's
it
about
is.
you. But I really
it
wanted
is.
to compliment you in the
Oh,
fact
thank
that
you.
you were dedicated to getting better.
Yeah.
And even to this day, like your interviews, your pregame interviews, like your organization, and I tell people, and I tell these young kids that I talk to, because we do have some very young, we have some good young talent that comes through Ohio, and they get to work with us on different projects and different games and different things. And when they ask for opinion and feedback, to me, you're kind of the gold standard for that with the way that you went through and you got better. Like we ask our players to get better. I ask my coaches to get better. I myself try to get better from year to year, and I think that we all should. And I think you embodied that from your first fumbling through that Murray State interview till the last one, and then even when we're at the NIT and you're doing our Clemson game and you're working independently of us, and obviously, my mother-in-law was a fan from day one.
Love her.
But I just wanted to compliment you on the way that you improved, and it wasn't accidental. It was very purposefully the way that you worked your way through it, and I think you were for me the standard on how pregame interviews should go because of your organization and how much you cared about it.
Yeah, and I mean, there's the art to the interview, right? And I mean, I don't know, we don't really need to get into technicalities, but I I just never wanted them
Hey,
to
it's your show,
be
Bob.
awkward.
You're the
Yeah,
guest.
well,
We go wherever the guest takes us.
Yeah, and then like obviously then Scholze comes along, we start putting him out on social media and stuff, and then of course the real pressure hits because I mean I don't know how many people actually listen to the pregame show, but I mean now we're putting him on social media and people can actually pay attention to the 9. I don't know how long did we go, 4 or 5 minutes sometimes, and then we got creative in where we wanted to do it became kind of a thing and not a joke.
It was fun, yeah. It was fun.
Became let's go sit on this comfy couch at Buffalo. Let's right in front of the Cleveland, now First Energy Stadium in downtown. So it became a thing, and
yeah, that's what I mean. You cared. You tried to do. You didn't mail it in ever. You always, at least I noticed. But there was always times that you tried. You had ideas, and then we would do it. Like you mentioned, we went from this, and then we did this well, and it was like, well, what else can we do? And then we had expert videographer with us, and then we would get Scholze's feedback. Right, he'd always tell us if we did good or bad.
Yeah, very truthfully.
And that was what made it good. It was okay. That was terrible. Yeah, you got to do it again.
Yeah, and I feel like
nobody ever knows how many times we started the interview.
That's true,
right? Like no one will ever know however many interviews we did. We started 100 times more.
I had a few blunders here and there. I mean, hence the nickname 50 Take Jake.
Yeah, I mean, but you're not going to just go one take for everything. You
no,
just aren't going to do it.
Yeah, it's hard to bat 1,000 in our career.
Sure.
It's
hard to bat in any career.
Yeah. But I mean, it happens. But yeah, post game interviews though, you were scary at first. Like when we lost, so the post game interview, I was very new to those too. Like I never did those in high school. And so all of a sudden, when was our first loss that freshman year? It was
East Carolina.
James Madison.
Yeah.
I don't think it was those. I remember I probably asked you some stupid questions in those games, but I think the real one that stood out to me was Western Michigan. Yeah, when we were up in Kalamazoo, I had no idea what to ask you. I was so nervous to talk to you. I remember that. There was a while there where I'm like, God, I hope we win this game because I don't want to deal with Bob. Because I was just afraid of asking a stupid question and then, because, I mean.
Well, in Western, you're right on the court. So, as soon as the game ends, I get to, at Western, I get to you,
and like that.
30 seconds after the game ends.
And
Western and BG, you're, just right there.
Yeah.
Buffalo, you're literally beside me.
Yes.
Sometimes you're not, depending on what's going on in the great state of New York at the time.
But I mean, when I'm 19 years old, I've never done post-game interviews before. I don't know how to deal with a Division I basketball coach who, I mean, I don't know. It was always something that I never wanted to lose because I didn't know what to ask.
Thank you for cheering for us.
Yeah, all the time. And I didn't want to sound stupid for one, because who wants to sound stupid?
Sure.
And I was 19, I still didn't really know a ton about basketball. Even that's my first year. I still don't know enough about strategy. I mean, what your guys' game plan is. I just go out there and describe what's going on the court, and that's it. So, and I still do that too sometimes. I still know basketball. I don't know a lot of the sports that I cover like you guys do.
Yeah, none of us do. It's
or like coaches do. But
it's a front.
That's just
That's good.
But I remember freshman year just being like, oh my God, what am I going to ask all the time?
Did you ever get mad at him for a post game interview?
Jake?
Yeah.
No, he was good. He was really good.
There's one that stands out to me though. That
I may have made a comment. It was only in jest. If I ever did, it was only in jest.
Yeah, no, it's not a bad thing. It's because I neglected to bring up. It was Kent State. I think it was a loss. This is one where Kelly Carlis stole the ball and took it the other way, and we're going overtime.
Missed the layup.
No, did she miss
She made the layup.
She made the layup, and then
we ended up losing in overtime. You're right. That's ended overtime. Then we
because a couple key players fouled out, and I forget how and then I didn't bring up the effort from everybody as a team. I think I focused on a couple people, and then you said no, and I think I ended the interview, and then you're like, no, I want to give credit to this, and I was like, oh crap. And I remember going home and feeling sluggish, I drove home from Kent because I think it was a Christmas break game or something. I don't know, and I just remember dang, he got me there. And it wasn't out of spite or anything either. I just forgot to. I just didn't give credit where credit was due. So, but I do appreciate when coaches do that, though. I do appreciate that.
Well, it's my job to make sure that these kids' parents and families are listening, and that's what's nice about doing it right after the game is that people might still be listening.
Yeah.
Not that they don't want to hear your recap and the stats and everything.
They want to
know right away. And And we did have a great effort to get back into the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we got a bad turnover or a bad foul late or something silly happened late in the game. And it was worth talking about because that's end of the game. But, you had that great effort by Kelly and a couple other kids to kind of get us in the game and send us into overtime.
Mm-hmm.
And their parents are listening at that very moment.
Yeah.
Right? So you have that moment. And then once that moment's done, it's done forever.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's not. And I thought you always did a good job of talking about the players.
Yeah, they were
because
fun.
the game's about the players, and we do this. All of us today are doing this for our student athletes. It's not about us. And I thought you always did a good job of talking about the players, and their families certainly appreciated it.
They were fun. I like all. I'm sure. I don't know. Do I have to Mount Rushmore some of the favorite athletes I've worked for on this? Because
We'll get there.
okay.
That was
you
the
brought-
question I had.
Yeah, you
Okay.
brought
We'll
it
get
up,
there.
so it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get there.
I have a few that I really. I
That's
mean,
the way it works.
I love working with all of our student athletes, so I'm just gonna put that out there right now. But go ahead.
So I know
whatever's next.
volleyball is your favorite sport.
It's not.
Yes,
I don't know why
it is.
I don't know why or when that joke became
It's
a
not a
thing.
It's not a joke. It's just a
Yeah,
fact.
yeah, yeah.
I don't think it's
It's
facts.
just always
So-
been your favorite sport.
It hasn't.
So volleyball's in your favorite sport, but what's been? You guys had some weird season previews, like that was kind of your guys' thing. So this is questions for both of you. What was your favorite one?
I'll let you.
I know my favorite one.
Me too. But
Mine was the fun barn.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's mine.
I mean, the fun barn was. I don't think anybody can top that.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
The fun barn was.
I mean,
was
someone
our
will.
best.
Someone will one day.
Yeah.
But
It
yeah.
started with Texas Roadhouse,
It did.
right? And they're being one of our sponsors, and they opened up the restaurant early for us, which we appreciated. That was my favorite restaurant in town. So it
My
was fun.
one regret about that interview is I specifically
listening.
I wanted them to end the interview with them delivering us our meal, and I told them that. And I don't know when they started making our food, but it wasn't ready by then, so I was kind of disappointed. That was my only regret. I wanted the server to come in and I'd be like, "Well, Bob, I guess we're done here," and that would have been great.
Yeah.
That's my one regret with that interview. That's why it's not it's 60% okay in my opinion.
60.
So,
Wow.
yeah, it's there are some things I wish I could do in that.
Do you still have the fun barn photos?
I do. Where are they?
They're not back
They
there.
were in my apartment because I had a table, a 4-shelf table of just
Sure.
stuff with Miami's on there, and then there's a signed volleyball from the volleyball team.
Sure.
Of course.
Yeah.
But no, my
the top
pictures of
shelf.
yeah, I set myself
Front and
up for that
center.
one. I set myself up for that one. I have a letter from Carolyn Mast on there too, and some Joe Tate thing. It's just a
Mhm.
memorabilia shelf, and I think that it's in a frame. It's in in a Avengers frame.
Yeah.
So.
Fun barn was fun.
Fun barn was good.
Yeah.
The video board one, I do regret actually. I don't think I was very sharp in that, but it was still.
It was
fun.
But
fun.
you were good. You were good at the game.
No,
Yeah.
that game was awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would. Yeah,
It was unique.
Did
It
you
was
hear
unique.
the behind the scenes thing?
the behind the scenes
Yeah.
thing.
So I'll spill the beans on this one. So we played, and then at halftime, Marwan and I switched controllers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But Marwan, we were playing on a screen, and then the what's the thing called? The
Video board.
The video board. Thank you. Was on a 3-second delay.
Yeah.
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 And he was sitting in the stands, so he's playing the video board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
late
playing
to
3 seconds
everything.
behind.
Yeah.
That's why I wish we were able to. There was some weird disconnect between
Well,
the
it's just
system
the
and the
delay
video board.
because the
Yeah.
video boards run in the
in the skybox.
skybox, and we had the PlayStation on the floor.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's just a delay. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just how the video board works.
Yeah, and there's a key moment in that interview too, where you look back on it and you just notice Bob's controller's light is not even on.
I remember seeing that.
And if you play video games, you know he's not playing, which I think is funny.
That was in the second half.
Yeah, it was in the second
The
half.
Tostinos, the halftime was good.
Yeah, I actually do have that in my archive. I thought about tweeting it one day, but yeah, I don't know.
It was unique.
It was unique. Yeah,
that
we
was
did.
good.
We did.
Yeah.
There's
you
a
guys be the cat. You guys be the old
Yeah.
school
Yeah.
Cavs.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, there's an unseen bit where we pizza roll, or we put microwaves in the pizza roll. or
Yeah.
we
Pizza
put pizza
rolls
rolls
in the microwave.
There we go. Yeah, and I grabbed the plate, and it's scorching hot, and Bob's like, "Of course, you're
Yeah.
stupid." So
Yeah.
yeah,
Back when Brenda was still here.
back when yeah.
yeah.
What else we got?
Sheesh.
I'm the guest, baby. I'm taking
Yeah. So, all right, that was your. Do you have a favorite game that you called?
Ohio State.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
Same.
that's the that's the end all be all. I would say, well, never mind.
With volleyball,
No.
Yeah.
volleyball's
yeah.
third home game
Yeah.
in 2018.
Yeah, when they beat Akron.
Yeah,
No.
right. It was
Four
was close.
sets.
Yeah,
No,
that
no.
was close.
That's definitely not it. Are we? I mean, everything or
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
any kind of volleyball, sure.
no? I'm trying to think. I mean, Ohio State. The win against Ohio State it's up there. I mean, I would put that even over. Just because they're Ohio State, right? And
Yeah.
I just love going up there and whooping them.
It was.
I mean, I put that even above. I don't think tournament games count.
The Ohio State game felt like a tournament game.
It felt like a
because
tournament game.
half the crowd was
Yeah.
cheering for us.
Yes.
Like it felt very much like we were at the. I mean, it's a big stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Half the crowd was for us. Half the crowd was against us.
Yeah.
The OU, at the shot. It's probably my favorite moment since working here.
Yeah. I think that's got to be that's like the epitome of that's like that's all my all-time favorite. But I'm excluding softball's NCAA tournament runs.
Sure.
I mean, those are just special in their own
Mhm.
because like to call their first ever NCAA tournament win, like I have to mention that.
Mhm.
But I mean that, yeah, I don't know.
That's a good one.
To
Yeah.
me, those
Absolutely.
yeah, but to me those are in their own category. To me, I don't know. I don't.
So
think,
what's the best of those that are in that category?
Softball's tournament win. Obviously, I mean they beat Monmouth, and then James Madison, and they had Tennessee on the wall a little bit. Kind of made
Mhm.
some folks in Knoxville a little uneasy. But Morgan Gino's home run against James Madison to take the lead in like the fifth inning or whatever it was. That's probably my favorite call. Well, between that and CeCe, and her game-winning bucket, those are my two.
The middle game.
The middle game, yeah. The middle game was one of my favorites too.
That's one of the best.
That's
sporting
one of the
events.
best, yeah.
That's one of the best fastball games ever played in the combo.
Yeah.
Period.
You think?
Oh yeah, it was a phenomenal game.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were good.
They
Yeah,
were really
they were
good. It was
really
high
good.
level,
Yeah.
back and forth. I mean, both teams were playing as well as they could.
Their
It
best
was-
player was a transfer from Ole Miss.
Oh, really?
She had 20 or something.
Yeah, it was a
Good.
good game. That's a call I'm gonna hang on to forever. I think. I owe CeCe that one. That's a good one.
CeCe was unbelievable that game.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think what other games. Volleyball in Provo was cool, but I was still so young that like I didn't really know where I was at the time.
At a volleyball game.
Yeah, that's true.
No, I mean like national tournament. I mean when they won the tournament championship, that was cool. But that was like my first ever tournament call. So like I didn't really. Again, like there's a point to, and you guys probably know this too. Like when you're young, you really don't understand like where like the scale that things are taking place in front of you. I don't think I really realized it until my senior year. Like wow, I probably could have treated those a lot better. Like when you guys went to the NCAA tournament my freshman year, I had no idea like this happens. Like at least for mid majors, once in I don't know every couple of years or so, just because it's so hard, especially at the way that like the MAC was trending to at the time. Like I wish I basked that in a little more.
Mhm.
So yeah, those are a couple. I'm trying to think of some others while you guys think, but
Those tournament calls are always interesting from my perspective. We talk about post game because you're way up there.
yeah, I hate
right?
that. Yeah,
And and we go all season where we're doing post game
Yeah.
interviews this far away from each other, and then I on a headset. And we're some guy down there that I don't know is pushing numbers.
Yeah.
And we're waving to each
Yeah.
other from afar.
Oh, talking about post game.
Cleveland?
Talking
Yeah,
about
Cleveland, yes.
Talking about post game interview blunders that we had. I think I don't know which tournament game it was, but it didn't
One
end
we
in our-
lost.
Yeah, it was one we lost. It didn't end in our favor, and that's the one too. I was loathing. I remember Gabe was with me too, and I'm like, I think we went to break because I forget why.
Yeah, we had to go to break up there.
Yeah, and I looked at Gabe Genovese, and I'm just like, I don't know what I'm going to ask him. Like I don't know. And we didn't even do the interview because they wired up our headsets wrong. So he's talking to, I don't know, the opposition, whoever we were playing, I forget. But he's
Yeah.
got the other radio crew down there, and I hear their coach, and I'm just like, what is going on? And the engineer's looking at me like, you good? I'm like, no, we're not good. I don't. And they just lost a tournament game, so it's like here,
Yeah,
that's
that's an uncomfortable conversation to begin with.
Yeah, so then Bob just puts that set down and walks away. And I'm like, you know what? I don't blame him.
That's it.
I don't blame him one bit. So I was in the same mood. I was like, he doesn't want to talk to me. I probably don't want to talk to him either.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and we should also say, like, when we sent Jake on the road with us, like, he was always would get there early, would set up everything. He probably wanted to get there sooner than I wanted to get there, quite frankly. So then he started. So then he started setting up during shoot around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Unless shoot around was on a Saturday morning. But provided it was a weekday game, he would set up and shoot around. And then, you know, there's this 18, 19-year-old kid plugging in all this stuff, picking up some places they still use the phone line.
Yeah,
right?
so that's why I started setting up at shoot around, because back when we had to do a phone line, everything was just, I hate phone lines. Just, I'm so glad finally, again, Adam Rich, amazing guy, finally got WEB to give us a Comrex, and it was gorgeous. I loved that thing. That thing was my child. I loved it, except traveling through the airport with it when TSA is.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
fun.
that's another story.
We'll tell that in a minute.
Yeah, we'll tell that in a minute. But yeah, the phone lines were awful. And then finally, I got to a point where I just set up at shoot around. It was so much easier. And then when we would get there 45 minutes before the game, I had everything set up and ready to go.
When we would fly commercial, it was always the
This
best.
is such a funny
because they
story.
would always. I mean, it's a big board.
Yeah, it's that board right there. I mean, it's all
and
this
it
equipment.
It's unique, and it would go through security.
Yeah.
And then I'll never forget, we were in the Columbus airport going to Northern Illinois.
Like 7 in the morning.
Yes, and the guy was holding it by like 3 fingers. He's like, "Whose is this?"
So the Comrex isn't here, but it's this touchscreen, like 2-channel mixer. It's like $4,000 or $5,000, and this is not without the actual rack that it connects to back at WUB, and the rack is even more expensive. But anyway, so yeah, he's just holding it up. Whose is this at 7 in the morning in Chicago? And I'm like, no, stop, it's mine, give it to me. He's like, what is this? I'm like, it's a Comrex. It's for broadcasting. We came from Northern Illinois. He was like, okay. So he put it back. He's just like kind of threw it back, and I'm like, God, you know what? This thing breaks because of you. We got some problems.
Every
But
time, though. I mean,
every
every single
Scholze
time.
would
And I
purposely
yeah.
line up behind me
I
just
would.
to make fun of me.
I would.
Because that's obviously that's a 6-channel mixer, and I need the out in order to.
Obviously,
Yeah.
that's a 6-channel.
Well,
For those of you listening at
it's
home,
huge.
it's clearly a 6-channel
Yeah,
mixer. You don't have to question him on this one.
It's huge. So like you have to bring that out and treat that like a laptop and put it in its own bin, and then the Comrex, you take that out, put it in its own bin, and I was just like, this is. Then you got Scholze heckling me from behind me in line and telling
Good.
everybody.
I do the same thing.
The
Yeah.
line's slow right here because look at Jake,
Yeah.
look at him. So
You don't have to anywhere.
Well, the
you
airport
have
was
no
always-
places to be.
I mean,
Yeah.
getting through TSA was always an adventure. Just
It always- yeah.
taking a team through
Taking
Yeah.
a team through TSA is an adventure.
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
equipment. And
That's why when we chartered, it was nice. Like when we chartered South Dakota State, I didn't have to. They don't have to look at my Comrex and question what the mixer is. They just load it onto the plane, and there we go. So, but yeah, times at TSA commercial flights with Ohio women's basketball were fun.
they were fun.
They always stressed me out too because I knew what was coming. Like
Yeah.
the 3 random people behind you, they just see I'm. And
How many bins are you going to
yeah, how many bins? And this I always felt bad for the person from behind us.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite part of traveling with Jake. And you slinking into the loft in the sleeper bus.
Yeah, this guy can get into any
Oh.
bed in the sleeper bus in,
Yeah.
less than 10 seconds.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Yeah, and it was weird because my first trip with you guys was a sleeper bus trip, and I got on there. I'm like, what is this? Where do I sit? I mean, and everyone else has a bunk, obviously. And it's my first trip, and I said, one, where do I sit? I've never been bus sick before, or like motion sick at all. But that bus at first, like, it took a little.
Yeah,
it
it's
took some getting
strange.
used to.
Well, you don't see any
Yeah.
out. You see nothing outside.
No, there's
your
yeah.
body. Your body tells you that you're moving, but your eyes tell you you're sitting still. And
Yeah.
that can be confusing for some people's
Yeah.
brains.
Yeah, and I'm with a whole new group of people that I've never met before. So
Yeah,
and
the
only
first
person,
trip's intimidating.
yeah, the only person I knew on the bus was Sara Legarsky,
Yeah.
and yeah,
My first trip was intimidating, too. I get it.
yeah.
It's a strange.
Yours was IUPUI, I think.
It was.
I specifically going.
It
we
was.
Went, yeah, we went out
we were in Indy. We went to the Pacers game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
IUPUI in Richmond.
Yes.
Richmond, we scored 190 points.
Yeah, that was fun.
And we were losing
Sluggish
in the first
start.
quarter.
Sluggish start to that game.
Yeah. It was nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you remember more, the sluggish start and the ridiculous, the 3 quarters, the last 3 quarters, and how ridiculous they were compared to the first quarter, or the fact that there was a spider at half court during warm-ups.
The spider was wild.
I
Somebody
don't
came
think
and got
you
it right before the game started. And
I don't think you can ever forget that.
It was
Against
very odd.
Richmond too.
yeah,
At
well,
Rich-
they
at
did. They
Richmond.
have a terrarium there, and
Yeah.
and they have it at the ball rack
Yeah.
at midcourt.
What?
So
Yes.
then
Yeah.
they
Yes.
right before tip off, somebody comes and like the spider handler
I don't know who. Yeah, I don't know who it is.
comes and picks it up and moves it, and
So-
they have it like displayed off in the.
It wasn't just like
by the
a
lane.
tiny spider like walking across
No,
the
no,
court.
no, it was,
No, no,
this
no.
was a tarantula.
Yeah,
The thing was alive. It was
Yes.
very alive.
it's
Yes.
very alive in a clear box.
Yeah.
right beside the ball rack.
Yeah,
That is insane.
yeah.
And like an hour before the game.
Do you remember the Family Feud trip from hell on the sleeper bus?
Yes, yes, yes.
How many combined hours of Family Feud did
Like
we?
17,
Yeah.
15.
It was
What?
unbelievable.
It was.
It got on so the sleeper bus has a couple TVs in it, but the one of the main ones is in the front section where we sit.
Yes.
And the remote starts right beside the TV when we get the bus in Athens. And then at some point the remote disappears.
Mhm.
And people kind of go to their sleeping areas. Jake scurries up to the top.
Mhm.
I was the only one who could get up there.
And Marwan finds himself nestled between the table. And
Yeah.
Scholze and Jackson are usually on the couch.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ryan was with us that's how it got on Family Feud.
Yep.
Was Ryan Page.
Yeah.
And then it gets on Family Feud, and then it stayed on Family Feud.
No one changed it.
The entire
the
trip.
entire trip.
Did you
Every-
lose the remote or did
I
no
don't
one want to
nobody-
change
no,
it?
they-
I don't
Part of
think
it is like people are in their sleeping areas, and
Yeah.
like I would be half asleep on the couch, and Jack's on the other
Yeah.
couch, and like nobody wants to get up and change a change. Nobody wants to be the guy be like,
Yeah.
oh, I want to control the TV. Like nobody
Yeah.
wants that responsibility.
Yeah.
So
'Cause
then you just hear that Family Feud jingle over.
and you go through different phases. Like like you go through these phases of I'm gonna get some work done, watching tape, I'm gonna take a nap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might as well watch some more tape. I'm sure you guys are writing stories
Mhm.
and doing media. Like you go through these different stages, but it was like 15 hours of family. Like no matter what everybody else was doing, somebody was working, somebody was sleeping, and Family Feud was on. So the three things you could
Way
count
too
on.
loudly.
Yes.
And I don't think any of us really realized it until we were coming home in like the last
Yeah, we're
hour
like,
and
oh.
a half. Like we're on 33.
I can't look at Steve Harvey.
Yeah.
anymore, man.
and we're all just kind of sitting there. We're like, what?
Like,
Why do?
Yeah, in
you
this
know?
comatose state.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
Just get me
just-
off this bus.
Yeah, just you want to be home.
The worst part about the sleeper bus is that they have cable. They have DirecTV, which is
Say I'm the only person in this.
yeah, but
That
they
has been on
don't have local channels.
Oh yeah.
So you can never watch the NFL
Oh, so it's
or
only
like a
like
college football game. of the week.
ESPN and stuff,
Yeah.
You get E
Yes.
ESPN.
and then like
And,
Game Show Network probably.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Definitely get Game Show Network.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we would find ourselves watching. I remember we watched the Clippers game. It was a late trip. We watched the Clippers game. Clippers Rockets. Nobody turned the TV off. Then ESPN apparently was showing it again.
The
Like,
best. yeah.
You don't just
You're
turn on
very-
like FX and have movies
You're
playing in the
very
background.
disappointed because we would watch NBA TV a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and they would do like the wraparound.
Mhm.
But then you would be very disappointed when it got to the Lakers game only,
Yeah.
and you're like, "Well, I've still got 4 more hours, and there's no more NBA
Yeah.
games on to
Yeah.
watch."
What am I gonna watch?
At,
Yeah.
at that point, I just try to do my best to fall asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But
yeah.
yeah, sleeper buses. No, I mean, I thought they were
and
the worst.
the team always knows when to start complaining they're hungry. That's
Yeah.
my joke. They know where the Popeyes is,
They do.
and like 20 minutes before on 71, if we're in Northwest Ohio, it's always
That's
you always hear we're hungry right before we get to Popeyes in Ashland,
Yeah.
and they never take card. And our P cards only take $50 at a time.
Yeah. Yeah. There's all that was.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
that
And-
rest stop like the back of my
Yeah.
hand.
It's-
Clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because I use that when I leave Athens. I take that to go home.
Yeah, in Ashland.
Yeah.
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 Well, your parents did throw you a party last weekend, so that's good.
They didn't throw. I said I was coming home and we had family over. That's all we
Yeah.
did.
You told us
And
it was a
then-
party,
and
so it
then-
was a party.
and
That
then
sounds
my-
like a party.
and then
Yeah,
we
my
gave
friends-
him
Thank
we gave
you.
him work to do that weekend because we were in Iowa for
Yeah.
the football game,
Yeah.
Iowa State.
and then he's like, "Well, I'm going home for a party."
Not a party.
You literally said party
Okay.
in Phillips'
It was
article.
the wrong word.
Stevens
to
rolled
use.
his
Yeah,
eyes.
that was the
Just,
wrong word.
brother.
We were having people over.
Yeah.
So
Then you went and tailgated the Browns game.
I did. I tailgated the. Yeah, this was my first time in the Muni lot.
Man.
It was wild.
Oh.
I've
Boy, was
even
I-
been in the Mooney lot.
Man.
Boy, was I
You
in
picked
for
a heck of a time to be the first time.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And yeah. Well, I figured we were gonna win. So, yeah.
Yeah.
You should know better. You're a Browns fan.
Well, I've always been down here
That's fair.
in Sundays. I've always spent here, so because sometimes we're away on a Saturday and we get back late. And I was on a bus for 5 hours. I don't want to take another 3-hour trip up to Cleveland to go watch the Browns. I'll just watch it here.
I get it.
So
That's a long drive. I get
yeah.
it.
So, but yeah, no, Muni lot was wild. I recommend it for anybody.
Come get on the bus.
Yeah.
What are you going to miss most about Athens?
I think.
Besides the people.
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to
That's
say
the
coming
right,
into
that's
work
the
every
right
day.
answer.
Yeah, I was
but
going to say.
Go ahead, give us a
Yeah.
different one.
Name. I want to hear like a restaurant, like everything.
Restaurant will probably be
Yeah, let's go. Hold on, let me take over this part of
Okay.
the segment. No, I want quick
Okay.
answers, though.
quick answers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I like this.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm okay with
Rapid
this.
Yes.
fire.
Rapid fire, that's what they call it. Best restaurant on Court Street.
Oh, Jackio's is on Court Street.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Good job, Jake.
Glad you
Right.
remembered that. It's on Union, not
Yeah.
Court.
There's
Yeah.
one right answer to this.
There's one.
Rapid
Well,
fire.
there could be multiple answers.
Rapid fire.
Best restaurant?
Yeah, this
Court
is
Street
not
only.
Yeah, go.
Oh God, dude, I don't know. I mean, I go to Chipotle way too much, but that's not it.
You might get
not a sponsor.
sacrificed by Athens.
Definitely don't go to Chipotle.
Restaurant. I mean,
All right.
if it's not Chipotle,
Best
I'm
restaurant
going
on
to
State
Ginger.
Street.
On State Street? I don't go to State Street enough for that.
Well, the answer is Pigskin on Court Street.
Okay, yeah. That's
Yes.
true. Yeah.
State Street.
Pigskin's good.
What's your favorite bar?
I don't go. Jackio's.
Best restaurant on Court Street.
I'm gonna probably miss Jackio's the most. Jackio's
Best
is good.
restaurant on State Street. We've asked 3 questions.
State Street. Sorry.
Texas Roadhouse.
Sure.
Good choice. Best,
Yeah.
best drink in Athens.
Are we talking mixed drink or are we talking like beer?
Doesn't whatever you want.
Drink is a
Dude,
very
the
Rapid
The
fire.
ra-
Yes.
Jackie. Okay, fine. Jackio's Razwheat is
Yeah.
is above and beyond my favorite beer of all time.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, Mystic Mama's better, but yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, no, but I understand.
Well, yeah. Well, no.
And the
I
Ricky-
understand where
Ricky's
you're
really
coming
good, too.
from with that. The Mystic Mama is probably more popular, and
Yeah.
I mean, people just love their IPAs more.
Little Fish or Cider House?
Cider House.
By far. By far. yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is the quickest answer I
Yeah.
got out of you
Yeah.
all day.
Cider
What's
House
the
by
What's the
far.
best mixed drink in Athens?
I don't know.
Yeah, you do.
I really don't know. I think you want me to say the Black Widow from Pigskin.
Oh, I would say Blackout for Poppers.
The only
Oh,
reason
no,
you
that's what I meant.
I was going to
That's
say,
what I meant.
the only reason you said Black
No, the-
Widow is because I mentioned it yesterday.
The Blackout. That's what.
Yeah.
That's,
That's the
I'll say
best
that
one.
because that's what you.
You ever
that's
had a
what you
Blackout
like.
at Poppers?
No. I've never been inside Poppers.
That's probably
Well,
good.
that's
to
for
say
the
on record
best.
as
Yeah,
that.
right, yes.
Yeah, that's probably
Let's go on
the best.
record as that.
Yeah.
That's for
Best
the,
pizza.
it's for the better.
Oh, courtside. Yeah, Jackio's is a close.
What are you
it's
ordering
close.
from courtside?
What do I order from a courtside?
Like, you have to get one pizza. What is it?
Considering my favorite pizza, I love a good sausage pizza, and I get sausage from courtside.
You don't get
I'm
the
a-
buffalo chicken pizza?
Dude, the buffalo
I-
chicken
oh,
pizza from
I did
courtside
forget.
is so
I
good.
did forget about that one.
Yeah.
You
That's
are
a
a
good point.
terrible guest.
Yeah, I don't like the pressure. You know,
Wait.
now I understand why people
Yeah,
like
don't wanna
struggle
do
with this when I
Yeah.
ask them because it's hard.
You have changed every answer.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Now, he said Cider House and Texas Roadhouse very
Yes.
quickly
Yeah.
and did
There
not
was-
change.
Those were definitive.
Cider House.
Courtside pizza's really good, isn't
It
it?
is. It is.
I might have to get some tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
I
Yeah.
think I'm partial to Avalanche still, but
Yeah.
How long does it take you to
Avalanche
get to
is good.
Avalanche? What,
By
a minute?
Walking?
Yeah.
Bicycle or car?
walking is 3 minutes.
I'd say the fact that you know all 3 of
Bicycle,
those.
90
Yeah.
seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, car and
Right.
bike is the same length,
Yeah.
same time length.
Yeah, because you got to start the
You
car.
can't stop.
Yeah.
Via scooter is the fastest method for me.
Yeah.
I can beat it
Yeah.
via scooter
Scooters,
in,
yeah.
in less than a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you-
Favorite.
trying
What's
to-
your favorite item from Wits?
I haven't been to Wits in probably like 4 years.
Bobcat or the Buckeye?
Bobcat.
yeah,
Thank you.
Are you a Larry's guy?
Yeah, Larry. I will miss Larry's.
Go to Larry's Doghouse
There-
order. What is it?
There was a point. Well, before I say that, can I say this? There was
Yeah.
a point where I was probably going to Larry's like 3 times a week.
It's
Yeah.
phenomenal.
It's the
Yeah.
best fast food burger. in
Yeah.
town.
Well, once
Yeah.
I realized like what
and I stole that from Scholze. He
Yeah.
told me that. And
well,
I
because
agree.
this was my first
Yeah.
full-time
I'm
job.
glad you finally got a
Yeah.
burger from Larry's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, so once I realized like how much was in my account, because this is my first full-time job, so I didn't really know what the concept of money was. So
I mean, you went to Elyria Catholic. That makes sense.
well, We didn't have to.
Boom, roasted.
We didn't have to say that. But anyway, I'd say double cheeseburger from Larry's with a M&M. M&M Arctic Swirl.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, fair.
More.
Okay.
Brennan's or Bagel Street?
Oh, that's actually really hard. Brennan's.
What's your go-to? What number?
I switched it up.
Yeah?
Yeah. I forget what I got, though, the last time. Whatever I got last time was really good.
I don't
think it was
remember
like
the numbers.
I don't remember the numbers.
You gotta get the Italian basket.
I think that's what I get. Because it has banana pepper. It has banana peppers on it. That's
I
what
get that or the buffalo chicken.
But Bagel
Yeah.
Street, I recently had
chicken's
like a banana something with cinnamon on it. It was pretty good.
Oh, I've never gotten their desserts.
It was killer. No,
Yeah,
it was a
their-
breakfast sandwich.
Their breakfast or
Oh.
dessert stuff is really good.
No, me neither.
Yeah.
I
That-
get the same thing.
I used to get it walking to class. I'd walk right by it.
Yeah, I'd say like Brennan's by like a centimeter
Yeah,
or two.
that's
They're not that far apart from me.
So you left once.
I did.
You came back.
Not okay. So that wasn't under my own.
We didn't.
Okay. So
We
this,
didn't fire you.
no, I know
blame-
that.
yeah.
No. I
You're
know
blaming the
that.
pandemic here.
I am. Well, no, I am. Yeah, because I guess there was a plan to bring me back, and that I didn't know about by the time
I'm
that
not speaking
tournament
to
hit.
university
Oh, okay.
HR on this podcast, to be very clear.
I had heard.
That's a smart
But-
decision.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, no, that's
No
probably
comment.
smart. Yeah, that's fine. You don't have to. But
No comment.
I mean, I think there was like a thought, and then there was a approval.
Yeah,
At least,
once again,
but you can't say.
we're
And
not
the
talking
old-
about
the
HR
world
approval
shut down.
process.
No,
Yeah,
well,
no.
whatever. But yeah,
I guess
so
I guess what he's asking LeBron is, when are you coming back again?
Yeah,
I feel like that's not up to me.
yeah.
I don't think. So.
Yeah, you shouldn't probably
Who-
close the door. It's,
No, I'm never gonna.
I mean,
close
it's
the
kind of
door.
up to you.
Who
You
will
are
come
the
back,
final
who will
decision.
come back sooner, LeBron or Jake?
LeBron.
Well, how long were you?
I don't think LeBron would come back, but
Well, then you think Jake.
yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no, I feel like you should never really close the door on or completely rule anything out.
Do you have an
unless-
exit interview here?
I do. With
Oh.
When is it?
Friday with Trina at 11 a.m.
So make sure to tell her how great your boss is,
We'll see.
And coworkers.
We'll see.
and how just
I'm gonna be honest.
wonderful experience.
Yeah. Sure.
Will the Guardians, Browns, and Cavs make the playoffs
Yeah.
at the same time?
Are you saying like? Oh,
At
never
the
mind.
same time. I mean, they almost did back in 16, but the Browns were abysmal.
Correct.
I'd say next year's probably your
They
I'd
chance.
did.
say
They did in
next year-
1944.
Yeah, I'd say.
Wow.
The fact that you know that is
Yeah.
impressive.
You gonna miss us, Jake?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
It's gonna be.
You didn't have to qualify. You could have stopped at yes.
Yeah. I think.
Feels like it a little bit. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
I
Sure.
Maybe
told
not.
I told Jake this off the record. The access that he has here is unique, and not just unique to. It's not because it's a Power 5 school. It's just unique to Athens and Ohio University.
Well, yeah. And I think
Like I've worked like Toledo. I got kicked out of football practice. Right.
Yeah.
Like, that's a. I mean, it's a unique place that
Yeah.
you're not. It's gonna be different.
Yeah, and it helps too that when I did come back, I already had relationships with a lot of people. So I mean, there were very few new people that I needed to introduce myself to.
Mhm.
Or yeah,
This sounds negative. I don't mean it sounds negative, but the person we hire to replace you is going to have an easier time building a relationship with people like Bob and Jeff and Tim than you're going to have in Ole Miss,
yeah, absolutely,
just because of the access
yeah, absolutely.
and
Yeah.
what we've allowed, and it's part of the culture of the, which is a good part of the culture
Yeah.
at the university.
Yeah, and I think he earned a lot of trust with players because he was very respectful of their time, and he would, we would have, there'd be more than one occasion where we would have something planned where he'd want to talk to somebody after practice, and practice would run long, and now they're crunched for time, and Jake would have the wherewithal to say, you know what, this isn't the time, let's meet tomorrow. And I think people respected that side of Jake, and it wasn't always last minute. He would, he'd say, hey, I'd like to talk to you next week, and I'd like to talk. Again, part of his organization and why he's so good at his job is, hey, I'd like to talk. We're doing a feature on 3-point shots next week, and we'd like to talk to you. And they'd work it in their schedule, and they would know, it wasn't, hey, practice just ended and you look a mess, let me put you on camera.
Mm-hmm.
You
That's
know,
what I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't like you for it.
Proud of you.
No.
Yeah, and I just think he was very respectful of, while we joke about him, he was pretty shy and quiet, but he was always respectful on trips, and the type of person that you'd want to have back, and they saying good things about the kids. He never had an agenda. He was never out. The kid could legit lose the game for us, but that wasn't going to come out of Jake's mouth, and I think that the players and the program respected him for that.
Yeah, I mean, you learn from the coaches, too. I mean, there's a lot to just sit with the coaching staff on a bus ride and just listen to, I mean, I don't want to say eavesdrop, but you're all in the same, especially with the sleeper bus, like you're all there, so you kind of hear the strategy and, all that other stuff. So, I mean, you learn, like, if this play happened, if we're able to do this with 2 minutes to go in the game and whatever, and we defended this correctly, like, we don't put ourselves in this situation 2 minutes later, So there's always, I don't know. Working with student athletes is always fun, and just being able to learn about who they are, who their parents are, their backgrounds, and that's why the podcast. That's why we started it. Just another outlet for student athletes to sit in a chair and talk about their lives. I think that was always fun.
Yeah. Yeah, you're great at it.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah,
you're really good.
Yeah,
thanks.
Howard Stern, Jake Hromada.
You'll never reach Stern level.
No, never.
Or get paid that much.
No.
But you'll always be this much better than Joe Buck, though.
I don't know why Joe Buck gets so much flack. I don't mind Joe Buck.
That's weird. You must not watch the World Series.
Well, I will say this.
Are you related to Kyle Schwarber by any chance?
No. I will say. So when I watched the 2016 World Series, I wasn't really paying attention to what Joe Buck was saying, if that makes sense. I was more inclined with, what are we doing on the...
Yeah, I wasn't either
Are we losing?
in games 4, 5, and 6 because I turned it off.
Well, that
in
makes
game
sense.
7, I was there, so I didn't have to listen to him.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite broadcaster?
Tom Hamilton.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah, I have very early memories of listening to Tom Hamilton as a kid. So, yeah. I think I met him once in high school, and then we talked again during COVID. It was pretty cool. Yeah.
It was cool. I got to take Jeff up there when it was OU Day.
Him and
announced him
Bolt,
as
yeah.
Frank Solich. But because Tom called a bunch of their games in '94.
Oh, is that right?
Games. Yeah. I'll show you the broadcast after this. It's very cool.
Yeah, that's neat.
The Ohio State game was on local NBC4 in Columbus, and Tom Hamilton was the broadcaster.
Wow.
And he called Bulls and Trent and
Yeah. We
All
just ended
right.
it.
from
From
Athens
Athens
with
with
Love.
love.
Guys.
Bye, Jake.
See you guys. Thanks for having me.
So we talked to Bob Boldon, who knows Jake very well. Maybe the only person in the athletics department that has known Jake longer than Bob Boldon, that currently works in the athletics department.
Yeah.
That's known Jake longer than Bob Boldon. Sara Legarsky.
Hi, Jake.
Oh, no. I can only imagine what stories that Sarah brings to the table.
Most of
Literally.
them she can't tell,
Yeah.
which is okay. Because Sarah would like to be gainfully employed by Ohio University still.
Yeah.
I would like to be gainfully employed by Ohio University still. Not all of us are moving on to Power 5 schools. But
You will.
maybe not.
I went that route. I'm okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not. Some of us are loyal to our alma mater.
Hang on. Okay, you don't get to pull that on me.
I absolutely do.
But why? I don't think that. I'm still loyal to my alma mater. It'd be different if I was going to a max school.
So I'm going to get out of the way
Yeah, I'm very curious to hear what Sarah has to say.
and let Sarah tell some stories.
Yeah.
For
the record, I have to defend myself in a couple.
Sure,
I think.
it's a conversation.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
But I'm just saying I'm handing the floor over to Sarah.
Every story has two sides to it.
That's true.
Well, from my perspective to your perspective.
That's very true.
All right.
Sarah,
Well,
what do we got?
So I think I'll start it off with, we have known each other. I got here in the beginning of August of 14. So you would have gotten here when school started in 14.
Yes.
So we've been here about the same amount of time, minus your little hiatus.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. I wish I was here for that. It's okay.
But we have been a part of many adventures since our time with women's basketball.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to think of, so the first time I met you, I remember actually very well because we met at Walter Fieldhouse. And Walter, it wasn't brand new then?
It was brand new.
It was
like
brand
they
new
had
then?
just ribbon cut not long before I got here.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So we've been here as long as Walter's been up.
Basically, yes.
Well rolled. Okay. Yeah, but I remember because I was with Tom Simmons and Russ, and they walked me over to football practice because they were like, everyone needs to experience their first Ohio football practice. So we walked to Walter, and they're like, this is Sara. And the next thing you know, you become the football SID because Tom leaves.
I had been here 6 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
I had just come from Oklahoma State. I'm like trying to adjust, living on my own in new city, trying to figure it out, going through life, and it's like, here, take the most stressful thing you can think of, and it's all yours.
It's all yours.
We
I
survived.
remember that.
I survived. We all survived.
Yeah. Those were good times. It was
Those
fun.
were good times.
Yeah, it was. I don't know the moment though. I realized I got on your good side that like I realized okay, Sara approves because I think it's kind of hard to be honest. I think.
Well, people always tell me that. Like, even Sara the other day was like, yeah, no, up until probably like a year ago when you offered me this job, I was terrified of you. And I was like, what do I do? I'm 5'1", 170 pounds. What am I going to do? I can outrun you. I might be able to lift more than you, but
Yeah.
but I can't. So I'm glad you realized that.
Yes.
You were on my good side,
And-
I guess. I
and
don't have a
I'm
bad
honored.
side.
Oh, I know. I'm honored though. I'm honored. But I will say, yes, we had a lot of women's basketball road trips that were fun together, including the one to Murray State, which I thought
Yes,
was
our very first one.
Which, from your perspective, we both kind of had the same perspective on that. So we knew each other. We were going into the trip completely not knowing what traveling with women's
Right.
basketball is going to be like. But I mean, they score 111 points.
Right.
We talked to Bob about it too a little bit, but I'm curious
Yeah.
to know what your perspective is.
Well, we get here. So I'll preface this. When I first got here, I was secondary football, took over football. Then I was women's basketball, softball. I've since transitioned. I'm men's basketball. Shuffled some sports, still softball. But when we were traveling with women's basketball, our first year here, we come in and people keep telling us it's like, well, enjoy what you're doing because women's basketball is really bad. They won 9 games last year. Like, good luck. I was like, all right, that's cool. That seems really negative, but I'll go, whatever. So we go to this Murray State game, and all of a sudden, like, we're just destroying them. And I'll never forget, I think one of the Murray State girls was crying at halftime,
Yeah.
walking off the court, because they just relentless. So the final score was like 111 to 60 something, I think. And I remember being on the bus on the way back, and Michael Stevens calls me and was like, is this really the final score? You didn't make a typo? It's like, no.
No, we were there.
This happened. I watched it.
If you listened to my first broadcast on OUBAM, you know it was real. Disaster that probably was. But
So that was a good trip.
yeah.
But I think what I'll say is the story, which is funny you say you being on my good side. So this is my favorite Jake story, and also adventures.
Yeah, here we go.
So this is December of 2016, and I remember this specifically because we did this trip to Middle Tennessee because I was then leaving the next day for Detroit for the MAC football championship game. So I remember it was the beginning of December of 2016. So the team leaves on a bus to Middle Tennessee. There was not enough room for us. So Jake and I have to fly out of Columbus day of game. Now, also prefacing this with, not only did we have to fly out day of game, but it was like an 11 a.m. kids' day tip-off, which if anyone listening knows me knows that they are my favorite games.
Oh, they're everyone's favorite game, Sara. Everybody loves an arena
Actually-
of screaming children.
Actually, it's a love-hate relationship because I love being done with work by 2 o'clock, but I have a headache until the next day.
Yeah, all the screaming kids. I mean,
Yeah.
it's marketing loves those though.
Yeah.
But anyway, continue.
Anyway, so I pick you up at like 3:30 in the morning, maybe 4. We drive to Columbus. We get our flight. We get there. We get the rental in Nashville and do the thing. Get to the game. We win. Whatever. All going smoothly. Get back into the finish posting the story and everything. Immediately get back into the car. Drive back to the Nashville airport. Drop off the car. get checked in, sitting at the gate. Now, I opened my computer to do more work, and the motherboard on my computer has decided that, we're done.
Not today.
Not today.
We're not.
Not anymore. We're good. So now I'm panicking, and then I don't know what happened. I can't remember if we had a layover or the flight was delayed.
I wish we had that itinerary still somewhere.
I know, but we were in the Nashville airport for a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time we get back to Columbus and get, on the blue shuttle to the blue lot, back into the car, it's 11:30 midnight maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, it's almost 24 hours of no sleep, at least for me. I need to go home and finish doing laundry and finish packing to leave in like 12 hours, again, on a bus to Detroit. And I look at you and I say, the only thing I need you to do is stay awake and keep talking to me. We have an hour and 15 minutes to get home. Just keep talking to me. I don't even think we get to the Lancaster exit. And I look over and he's dead asleep on the passenger window. I'm like, are you kidding me? And this was before I listened to podcasts religiously in the car in order to keep myself awake for these situations. So I'm just like meandering along. And at some point past Logan, Jake wakes up and looks around and he goes, was I asleep?
Yeah. So, first off, I'm sorry. I don't know how many times I have to apologize for leaving you hanging, because like that would kind of annoy me too. But I think in order to trust myself that I would even be awake at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. to like get there in the first place, so you're not like calling me and we're late for our flight to Nashville. I think I just stayed up all night and just played video games, and then I stopped when I think it texted that you're on your way. But the airport, for whatever reason, coming home was all a blur. I don't know why. I think it was just because we were so tired and we were running on fumes. Like, I don't remember flying, actually, to Columbus. I do remember falling asleep. Because, like, I'm bobbing my head in the passenger seat. I'm like, she said stay awake. She said stay awake. We're not going to stay awake. So, yeah, I think I'd have been up for more than 24 hours at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no way. And then on top of calling a game in front of 3,000 children, I think the game was kind of close, too, for a little bit. It was a tight game at first, and then we managed to pull away. But, yeah. And then I was 21 at the time, too, and we bought an airport beer. That was my first ever airport beer experience.
Oh, yeah, because I bought it for you. I went, here's an airport beer. Congrats.
I think you got a Moscow Mule.
Probably.
Because I'd never heard of such a conconcoction in my life.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, and then I got I think a Blue Moon or something.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, airport Blue Moons are pretty legendary. So,
airport Moscow Mules in Nashville are like $20, so I don't recommend, but it was delicious.
We had a long day. we deserved it. Yeah. Yeah, I just remember that whole trip. And I think we still got home before the team.
Yeah, we did. We got home before the team.
Which is wild to think about. All that travel, all that nonsense, we still got home before the team.
I guess I was happy to not be on the bus that one.
Yeah, at least we would have gotten to sleep in a bunk, though.
I know.
But
do you remember when we latched you in the bunk on the bus?
Yes. When Mary... I'm a heavy sleeper. And when I'm out. There's nothing that can wake me up. And Mary Evans, a former assistant coach of Bob, decided to test that theory, and she won that theory if she proved it right.
Because Jake would sleep in the bunks in the front of the bus, and these ones you could lift and lower to make storage or make more room, or depending on the amount of people. So Jake, being, especially at the time, probably 90 pounds.
Yeah, I've maintained the same weight.
Must be nice.
The last like 2 years I've gained, but yeah, I think I had the freshman -1, so that was fun. But anyway, yes,
So
it was.
We latched you in there, and you stayed asleep until we got back.
Yeah, and I woke up and I was very confused as to why I was like up against the wall of the bus in my one little mini window, and I'm like in this V shape. I'm like, what in the world? Everyone's laughing at me, and I'm like, get me out of here. And they're like, no.
No.
So the team unloads. All the coaches like get off. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, how do I? And I couldn't get myself out without someone's help. So that was funny.
I would have helped, but I couldn't reach it.
Yeah, no one could get up there.
No, I could never get up there.
Yeah, so that's why that bunk
It
was
was
mine.
you or Bob would always switch off on taking the upper bunks because I couldn't get up there.
Yeah, and then once Steph and Ryan came along, then Steph could get up there. But like Tavares never tried. Marwan was like, no, not happening.
I sat in the little booth bench seat
Yeah,
at the table because I would work, but I also fit in the bench.
yeah. And then when you became the men's basketball side and Scholze moved in, then Marwan took over that spot because he just had a thick pillow and he would just do this and he would be out cold the whole time. It was fun. It was fun.
Always an adventure on those trips.
Yeah.
But well, I'm glad you survived and
Yeah. In some way, shape, or form, I survived. But like, I mean, even Bob said too. Like throughout time, I just got more and more comfortable with everybody.
yeah.
And I was the butt of the joke always, but like it was easy. For
Yeah,
everybody.
you made it easy for a long time.
Yeah, I did, and I put a lot of it on myself.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of another story in which Jake made himself the butt of the joke.
What else is new?
This was, again, not long after I think you turned 21. We were in Cleveland for the MAC football MAC
Tournament.
basketball tournament.
Yeah.
And we went to the Winking Lizard. And Mashiro and I take you there because we're going to eat dinner or whatever.
Yo, Mashiro.
And there's a big... you have the whole menu of all of these craft beers.
Yeah.
Hundreds of craft beers going on.
Yeah.
And I order something, Derek orders something, and you're staring at this giant menu, and all you do is go, I'll take a Guinness.
Of all the things.
Yeah,
okay.
of all the things. I mean, at least it wasn't a Bud Light.
Yeah, because you don't go to a craft beer bar and like buy a Bud Light. But in my defense, well, am I allowed to admit everything I've had up to that point, which college, okay, I went to OU, like Natties, Millers, and Bud Lights. Like you don't know what I don't know. Thank God for Jackie O's because like that actually like broadened my beer horizon, and that's why like I enjoy craft beer a lot, just because of Jackie O's. So
Yeah, in the defense of that was also height of IPAs, and I mean I don't like IPAs.
Well, there are like 6 different IPAs that you could have, and Jackie O's I think has like all 6 types of IPAs that you can try. And by the way, like their IPAs are fantastic. I love their IPAs. Shout out Jackie O's. Sponsor me. They won't. But
You're moving.
Yeah, you're
I know,
moving.
I know. There's not a brewery in Oxford. I already looked. Sad.
Not much.
Yeah. But yeah, I was so new still to being 21, and like there are other things in this world, in this beer world, other than Bud Light and Natty Light and all this other stuff. So I'm glad I experienced that finally. Razweed's my favorite beer of all time. Like,
It is pretty good.
It is pretty good. I know Scholze thinks that's a hot take, but
What, the Razweed's the best one?
yeah.
I don't think that's a hot take.
Oh, you said it was Mystic
I mean,
Mama.
but like
Yeah.
Razweed's one of their most popular ones.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
Razweed's a good wheat one. I like Kind of Fuzzy.
Yeah, kind of fuzzy.
Yeah,
good.
I mean, Mystic Mom was my favorite one.
Yeah.
But
I could drink Jackie O's beer for the rest of my life. I think and be completely content.
yeah,
I wouldn't have to go to another.
phenomenal.
I wouldn't have to like the versatility in all their drinks. I wouldn't have to go to another brewery.
There's not one brewery in Oxford, Mississippi.
No. So, fun fact, because
I need
we've
to
already
hear
looked this
this.
up. So there's not a brewery, and there's not a winery within like an hour. So think of this and how like awesome Athens is. You have how many breweries here? Like what, 3?
They're all in Memphis.
Yeah,
3.
Devil's Kettle,
3.
Little Fish,
Little Fish, Jackie O's.
Jackie O's, and I might be missing one.
Well, then you have Cider House,
And then you have Cider House,
which is the distillery and the cider.
Yes.
Then you have 2 wineries.
2, yeah. And then I was going to get to
Yeah.
Shade and Pleasant Hill. And then even up the road in Logan at Hocking Hills, you
Yeah.
have the Hocking Hills Brewery. I have never been there. But then you also have Hocking Hills Winery or whatever
Yeah.
it's called. So it's like, yeah. So we're going to struggle in that department, but it's fine.
I
We'll
don't
be
know
okay.
What I do without Shade.
I did have to look up how to eat a crawfish, though. I'm going to admit that. I'll admit that to the masses.
Did Lexi Baldwin not teach you how to eat crawfish when we were in Tempe?
You know what? She didn't.
That was the one joy of hers. She found the market selling crawfish and bought an entire...
Did she really? Why don't I
Yeah,
remember that?
she bought an entire bag and brought them back, and she taught us how to eat crawfish. Yeah, where were you?
Well,
That's fair.
there's a lot that I don't remember. Yeah. Wow, no, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm not sure where she found the market in Tempe, Arizona with
Yeah.
the
So
crawfish, but she
yeah.
did.
Well, I may have to reach out to her.
Yeah.
She's one of my favorite athletes I think I've ever worked with, Lexi Baldwin.
Yeah.
She was great.
Also has one of the best calls you ever had in Ball State.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot about the Ball State call. Yeah. I love that play. I wish we talked to Bob a little more about that play because he initially drew that up just for the team to stand there, and then he was going to call a timeout as soon as we started the play or whatever, and then the play worked.
Yeah,
Lexi
Ball
was
State
open.
just stopped playing.
Yeah, they didn't defend Lexi, and they just passed it to Lexi, and next thing you know, and won. We win the game, and then I got into a fight with the fan.
And then the bus broke down.
Then the bus broke down.
Gonna fight with a fan?
Well, I didn't get.
No, he
I got
didn't.
into a verbal exchange because they were
unpleasant.
They were how do I say this? They how do I don't know how to say this. They were being very racially incorrect to our team, and it was not
Racist.
Yes, they were being pretty racist. So I turned around and I said something, because those are our girls out there. So yeah, it was not well. But anyway, that was the last time I ever got into a verbal exchange with a fan.
The first and only time.
Yeah, first and only time.
Well, then the bus broke down at a Hardee's truck stop not far down the road.
Yeah.
And we were there for 8 hours.
Yeah, and then
That
there for 8 hours, and then they somehow got our bus fixed by the time a new bus came to pick us up. So that poor bus driver that left Athens went all the way to wherever we were in wherever, Indiana.
Meanwhile, Terry got the bus rolling again.
Yeah, Terry somehow got the bus rolling again. So then we go all the way back.
Yeah.
That poor bus driver. That poor second bus driver. Man, I felt bad for that person.
Yeah,
But
that was
anyway.
an adventure.
So many adventures, Sarah.
I know.
I'm going to miss them.
Speaking of other good calls, I
Uh-oh.
think you wrapped up, I think probably one of the best calls you ever had was this spring with softball. Do we get to play it? I think this is about the time we play it.
I will edit it in here, and here it is.
2 count, 2 outs, nobody on for Ohio. Here it comes. Off the plate, strike 3 call. Yikes. If you say so. We go to the 7th. Ohio leads 1-0 on the Ohio Sports Network from Learfield.
All I'm gonna say is the call spurred
Hold it up the camera, please.
Yeah, you can.
T-shirts.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there it is. So I thought you were going to talk about Morgan Gino's home run.
We'll talk about Morgan
but-
Gino's home run
yeah.
after we talk about this one.
But this one was funny. Sometimes it's like when I grew up listening to Joe Tate, he would always rag on officials sometimes, and I think my inner Joe Tate just came out, and the call was bad.
It was a terrible call.
it was a
in
terrible
the
call.
outside corner. P should not have been called out on
Yeah,
that.
it was pretty bad. And I didn't think I just kind of reacted to it, and I didn't really think that it was funny, for one, and then 2, people were talking about it without me knowing. And then the coaches hear about it, and they go back and they start cracking up. So next thing you know, they come in wearing that T-shirt, Sarah, Kenzie Rourke, and Ashley Taylor, and then also Sarah Newgard somehow got in on it. I don't know where she came out of left field. And, yeah, it was funny.
Well, I think the best part about it is the play happened. We all looked because we were all like, what? And you say the line, but then you go, and to the top of the 6th we go with Ohio leading 1-0. As if it was a completely normal thing
Yeah.
to wrap up with. And
Yeah. I don't think I can say that on TV. There are some things that down here you can get away with,
well,
and I knew I could get away with that.
Yeah.
Because no one's going to yell at me.
no.
So, but yeah, it was kind of funny.
So the Morgan Gino home run. I will say that's probably our favorite trip together.
Knoxville was fun.
Knoxville was fun.
It was fun, I mean, in the way that, just not because, the social life. Like we were staying a half hour outside of Knoxville, so like we didn't really get that. But it was fun in the sense that just the people we were with, the team was fun, the experience, and we won.
Right.
That's what made it so fun.
Well, because we'll start the tournament we opened that tournament against James Madison and had like a 6-hour rain delay, storm delay. So that game ends up happening, and we end up losing or whatever, and it's like, bummer. So we come out the next day, we play Monmouth, we beat Monmouth. We were like, great, because I think Katie Young had a home run in that game.
She did.
And so we go back, and so then we're playing James Madison again, and Odyssey Alexander's in the circle for JMU, and if you remember the Women's College World Series a couple years ago, she's forever in softball folklore history. Legendary. So Odyssey's pitching, and we're up there, and we're down. I think we're down one or two.
But we were rallying.
Yeah, it was like the fourth or fifth inning, and Morgan gets a hold of a ball that, if you watch the video, there are bleachers set up in like kind of like
right
center field, and she crushes this ball over those bleachers. And I will say, in my job, I'm usually pretty well mannered. I don't get overly. I'm not supposed to cheer, show excitement. Anyone who watches the basketball games likes to send me pictures of my face, going, "Well, you look like you're having so much fun." I'm like, "Well, I'm not supposed to be like cheering next to the bench or anything." I do have to watch my active eye rolling now.
Yeah. I can see,
but in this booth in Knoxville that they put us in, it was like the size of my office, maybe.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's probably the size of this table. We didn't have a ton of room.
No, and it was you and me in there working. And Morgan hits this home run, and I just lose my mind because I was so excited. And I grab you and just start violently shaking you as you are calling this.
Yeah. And I think up to that point, I think the biggest home run I called was Maya's MAC tournament home run, because that basically put us in the lead.
Yeah,
and that was the score of the game. It was like 2-0 or something. So how I got that call off when you're shaking me, and I still consider that like one of my favorite things ever, but like you don't know, you can't tell that you
can't
are
tell that I
literally
am violently shaking you out of your chair.
Yeah. And then Natalie hits one like 3 batters later.
Yeah, 3 batters later, and that was about it.
And then that's when
I think they pulled Odyssey.
And I think that's when the poor girl was gassed too.
Yeah,
I mean, she'd pitched really well up to that point, and I mean you could just tell she was tired.
Right.
But then we played Tennessee the next day.
We hung in there.
Yeah, I think we scored first. And there are some uneasy people in Knoxville, but
I meant to look it up before I came, but that was the game where Brooke Rice was a freshman. She came in to kind of relieve Nat for a little bit, and she, I think, is the only one. She was one
of like 2 catchers.
One of 2 catchers to throw out one of the Tennessee players that year, trying to steal.
Which was insane.
Yeah, and she didn't even get out of her crash. She gunned her.
Yeah, she was just a freshman, which is wild. Yeah, she was pretty good at being a catcher. I would not run on her. Not a lot of people did.
No, not a lot of people did. They learned quickly.
Yeah. But yeah, Knoxville was fun. I mean, it was a bummer that it couldn't keep going because that team was so good.
I know.
And they liked each other, and you could tell. And they just had so much fun being together. That's probably one of my favorite teams I've ever worked with.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, nothing against all the teams I worked with, but that team was really fun. The 14-15 Bob's year, they were really fun.
Was fun.
Trying to think who else. Dubs for Dow that year, they were fun for softball. Yeah.
Hi, Savannah.
Yeah. Hi, Sav. Then there was one more year, too, that was really fun. The 30-win year with Scholze was fun with women's basketball. That was another one of my favorite teams, and a lot of good memories.
Yeah, it was a long year.
Yeah, it was.
Literally.
It was a long year.
It was a long year. I mean, we were still playing, I mean, we were playing well into March in the WNIT at Northwestern.
Yeah.
Should have won that game.
Yeah.
It's okay. We won't talk about officials on here.
I think was I watching it? Was I with softball? I don't know. A lot of it all kind of.
Yeah, a lot of things blend together. I mean,
that year I think I would have, because that Jeff's first year was 2020. So yeah.
Yeah.
Because that was, what, 19?
18, 19. Yeah. So.
We've had a lot of teams do a lot of things.
Yeah, we have.
Didn't you also go to BYU with volleyball?
I did go to BYU with volleyball. Yeah, that was another one of those trips where I think, and I talked a little bit about this too with Bob. It's just like I was still so young that I didn't really know what was really taking place around me, and like how special it is for us to go to an NCAA tournament of some kind.
Well, like, I mean, we can talk about it with we get shipped in with that women's team in 14-15,
Yeah,
and they like, have the second greatest turnaround in NCAA history.
Yeah.
And we go to the tournament, and then we're like, well, everyone's back, and it's like, well,
we haven't gone.
We haven't gone back.
Yeah. So, and that's why, like, when I was a freshman, I didn't really know what was happening around me. I'm like, oh, this is really cool. Like, we get to do this. We get to charter out to Arizona and stuff like that. So, and we haven't, I mean, at least with women's basketball. And then, of course, with volleyball, it finally happens, I think, when I was a sophomore.
Yeah.
And I was like, yay. Like, I'm going to have this at least
with
one team per year. And finally, like, when it actually happened with softball my senior year, I was like, okay, let's soak this in. Like, this is special here.
Well, because with softball, it was special because we literally went to the championship game for 5 straight years.
Yeah, and we had fallen. The one year we were up even a game. Like, we had to, yeah. Anyway.
That's not.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into it. But yeah, I mean, that's why that last year in Knoxville, I, like, really did not take any of that for granted.
Right.
And just enjoyed staying up till 4 a.m. prepping the night before.
Right.
And then Jason was making a highlight video. So.
You guys can keep going.
No, you're good. I think we're.
I got to get off.
I think we're good.
I think we're
I
good.
got to
Yeah.
get Dean calling me.
Yeah, that's something you should answer. Sarah, I appreciate you reminiscing
Of course,
with
Jake.
me.
I know I say I'm not going to, but I'm going to miss you.
I feel like I mean I'm going to miss everybody every day, but it'll be a lot quieter around
It
here.
will be
that's
a
for
lot
sure.
quieter, less unnecessary noises.
Necessary noises,
No.
not unnecessary at all times.
No. I did ask Chapino if he wanted me to read a story, his favorite Jake story, but he said none of them could be repeated.
I'm sure we'll talk over Xbox Live
Yes.
this Friday night, and he will reiterate some of those to me.
Warzone 2.
Warzone 2.0. I'm going all in.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I'm taking that day off. It's the day after a football game. I'm not kidding.
Well, I'll see you on there, pal. Sarah, thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Thanks, Jake.